Hey, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Hideous Thoughts here, coming at you with another Black Desert Online video for console. In today's video, we're going to be going over bartering, essentially bartering for beginners. What you need to do to get started, what you need to know to get started, and basically I just want to help you guys really just understand what bartering is and how it works. I'm not going to go into all the intricacies in this video, it's just too much information. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk about the basics, just so that you guys know enough to get started. And then in the next video, I'm going to cover a little bit more like detailed information about how to plan your routes, and I'm going to do another video about talking about upgrading ships and all that sort of stuff, and just more kind of in-depth into bartering. But this video right here, it's more just about the basics, understanding the barter system and everything like that. So if this video helps you out, guys, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out all the interactions, getting the videos out past YouTube's algorithm and just getting more exposure to the channel. Really helps me out, guys. What you're going to see in the background is just me doing some barters and things like that, but essentially we're going to go over some information about bartering, enough to hopefully enough to get you guys started, but not enough to overwhelm you with information. But alright guys, so here we go. So for those of you who don't know what bartering is trading on the ocean. You're taking items from the land and you're going to put it on your ship, take it to an island, and you're going to exchange it for a barter item. Then you're going to take it to another island and you're going to exchange that again, and then again and again. Essentially you're going to end up with an item that you can exchange for either silver or for crow coins. Now, crow coins are a currency of the sea, basically. They can be used to purchase ship materials, mats, and other unique items. Let's talk about why bartering is good. Let's talk about the pros of bartering. Well, the first reason I've got is bartering is good money. Once you're all set up with bartering, you can make roughly 700 to 900 million silver a day. It is good money, and it's also tax-free. You don't have to worry about selling things on the central market. If you end up bartering items that you can sell on the central market, that's all well and good. That's just extra silver. For example, I did one today for Old Tree Bark that made me around 50 million silver profit after tax. All right, so it is tax-free, it's good money. Now, my next good reason for bartering is it can be done semi-AFK, so you don't have to sit here all day and physically do it. You can do other things. If you work from home, you can do that, or you can watch YouTube videos or TV or whatever you want to do. It can be done semi-AFK. Now, my next good reason for bartering is it creates access to making more money with sea monster hunting. So if you're spending a lot of time on the ocean, you're going to eventually come across sea monsters, and ships like the Caravel or the Caracal Valance are not the best ships for sea monster hunting, so you may end up with an interest in building something like a Volante or a Valor, or even a Galleass. These are the frigate side of the ships, and there is a lot of money to be made with sea monster hunting, especially if you're doing guild quests and things like that. So that may be something that interests you. Now, my last reason why bartering is good, and probably my favorite one, is you're not competing with anyone for a spot. You don't have to worry about going into a grind zone and someone coming in and being toxic and trying to push you out of your spot, or trying to PvP you. You're not focusing really hard on the game because it's semi-AFK. And you're not spamming keys and risking your character's life or your gear on your character. All right, it's open for everyone. There's no like you're not going to get in anyone's way doing bartering. It's equal opportunity for everyone. Now, we've talked about the pros, which means we've got to talk about the cons as well. The cons of bartering is it requires a lot of time getting set up. Bartering is not something you're going to jump into straight away and start making 500 million silver. You're going to spend a lot of time, days, maybe weeks, getting set up, maybe even months, before you start seeing a return on your investment, depending on how much time you're putting into bartering and getting it going. So it does require a significant investment of time and also silver into your ships. You're going to want to upgrade your ships as fast as possible. The better ship you have, the more money you can make from bartering and the less time you have to spend doing it. Now, I know that I said that bartering was good money, but my next con for bartering is that it's not the best silver earner. Yes, 700 to 900 million silver a day is good money, and a lot of people would be very, very happy making that kind of money. But it's not the best way to make money. Once there's new grind spots coming into the game, like for example on PC, they've got players that are making 300 million silver per hour grinding monsters. So there is better ways to make money than bartering, but it is a very low effort, good way to make money. It's just not the best way to do it. So if your goal in BDO is to make the most money possible in the game, no matter what it is, bartering is not the task for you to do. And my last con for bartering is pirates. Now I'm pretty sure that console doesn't really have any pirates yet. I'm pretty sure EU, specifically EU, doesn't have any that I've seen or heard of. I think it's still early days. No one's really got a ship worthwhile doing it. But pirates can be a problem if you're doing bartering. And essentially what a pirate is it's people who get enjoyment out of griefing other people while they're doing bartering. They will try to blow up your ships or just be a bit of a nuisance. If your ship gets blown up with barter items in it, you lose all of your barter items. So there is a little bit of risk there if pirates do become a thing, but you can just change servers or try to avoid them if possible. Alright, so we talked about the pros, the cons, what is bartering, what is crow coins. Now let's talk about how you can get started with bartering. Well, the first thing that I suggest you do is you're going to want to come into your menu, go to suggested, and you're going to kind of come across a quest line here called the Great Expedition Aquila's Eye. What you want to do is you're going to want to talk to your Black Spirit. I think you got to be level 50 to do this, right? So once you're level 50, you talk to your Black Spirit, and he's going to take you to Bartali or Igor Bartali in Velia, and that's going to start off this quest line. You're going to make your way all the way through this quest line, all the way down to the bottom. It's 53 quests, and once you get to the end, you're going to get one of these ships here, the Etheria Cog. You're also going to get these verdant blackstones, which are going to be used to upgrade your Etheria sailboat or your frigate into a caravel or galleass. So I'm going to do another video later about upgrading your ship. Basically what you want to do is you want to get these verdant blackstones. You're going to need 220 of them. So once you've completed that, you're going to need a ship, really. You can get the Bartali sailboat, but it's really bad. It's really bad. It's so slow. I would suggest you get yourself an Etheria sailboat. If bartering is the thing you want to do, get yourself an Etheria sailboat. You can come into the menu here. You can come down to ship registration, and you can go into the Etheria sailboat. Look, there's 7 registered right now. Around 500 million silver. Okay, grab yourself one of those. The other way that you can get yourself a sailboat is if you've been playing the game for a little while, you can come into, you can go wherever you've got them stashed. Your Shaka 2 seals. Now the Shaka 2 seals, you can exchange 50 of them for an Etheria sailboat. Depending on the event, sometimes we get more, but we usually get around 10 of these per month. So that's the slowest way to get one, but it is probably the easiest way to get one. You can buy one, which for around 500 million silver. It doesn't really take too long to make 500 million silver in the game through various ways, grinding monsters, doing different life skills, all that sort of stuff. Or the other way that you can do it is you can make it. Making it is the cheapest way to do it. It took me about a month to build my Etheria sailboat. So there's different things that you can do, different ways that you can obtain one of those. But I highly suggest, if bartering is what you want to do, you need to get yourself an Etheria sailboat as fast as possible. Now the last thing that you need to do with bartering is set yourself a goal. A lot of people don't like doing this. I don't know what it is, but a lot of people don't like setting goals. You have to set yourself a goal. You have to plan out what you're doing, and you have to plan out why you're doing it. This is very important, guys. It is so important to plan out and set yourself a goal with actually anything in this game. I find that when I play Black Desert, if I don't constantly have goals, I get really bored. But with bartering, you need to have a goal and you need to plan out what you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to get lost. You're going to end up doing random shit and everything's going to take you so much longer than it should. Alright guys, now suppose what I need to do is explain to you the barter menu and how the bartering system works. So I've got the barter up here on my quick menu, but what you want to do is you want to come down here into life and you want to come into barter. Now your barter is going to look like, your barter menu is, this is essentially what it will look like, except you're going to be a little bit less because you guys, if you're starting out for the first time, you're not going to have any routes unlocked. You're only going to have one route. Now essentially what a route is, it's going from land item all the way through to tier 5 barter item. So you would go land item to tier 1, exchange that for tier 2, exchange for tier 3, exchange for tier 4, and then tier 5. And after tier 5, you've got your silver or your crow coins. That's essentially what you would look like here. What it would look like here for you, just a little bit less. Up the top, you can see the grade where I've got it on white grade. You can just switch through here for green grades, blue grades, yellow grades, orange grades, and that just helps you to kind of make your way through if you just want to see specific barters for different grades, or you can have it on all grades and you can see absolutely everything that's available, and there you go. All right, so then the one underneath that is the Barter Refresh. You get the 150 Barter Refresh points every day, and what you would do is after you've completed your first tier 1 barter and you've done all of those that are available to you, then you can hit refresh. Now let's just take a look really quickly at the parlay up the top. I've got 215,000 parlay left. You do get 1 million parlay per day. It doesn't change. The barter refresh points don't change depending on your level. They stay the same the entire time. Everyone gets 1 million parlay per day. Your goal when bartering is to get your parlay down as much as possible. Okay, I'm at 215,000 now because I had to reset it earlier to do a parlay, and I'll explain that to you a little bit later when I go over some tips for you. Alright, but what I need to do now is, because I've done all of the barters that I want to, I'm going to hit refresh. I'm just going to quickly explain to you how the refresh menu works. So what I would do is I'm going to press L1 and triangle, and this is going to bring up the refresh barter information menu. Okay, so I'll just explain this to you really quickly. Remember, we get 150 refresh points every day, so you got to use this wisely. The trade item barter refresh is going to refresh every single item. You can only use it once every 4 hours. The trade item barter refresh is going to refresh every single barter item there and give you a whole bunch of new barter items. So these are going to be all the tier 1, the tier 2, the tier 3, tier 4, tier 5s. Okay? And the different opportunities to get different barter items. That's going to use 20 of the 150 points. It's got a 4-hour cooldown. So you would need to wait 4 hours before you can do that again. The next one down the list is the instant refresh. So let's say that you'd already done one normal refresh for 20 points. Well, you can do it again and then ignore the 4-hour cooldown, but that's going to cost you 50 points instead of 20 that you would use if you waited the 4 hours. Now, the material barter refresh, when you're starting out, you're probably not going to do this for a little while. You're going to want to do it, but I would wait a few days before you worry about this. You're going to want to get yourself some barter items stocked up before you do this. What this does is this is going to give you an opportunity to barter all of your trade goods, all of your barter goods for ship material. So if we come into my storage right here, so you can see all these red ones here. These are all tier 5 barter items. The yellow ones are tier 4s. The blue ones here are tier 3s, the greens are tier 2s, and then I've got some tier 1 barter item right here. So after you've got a few things stocked up, and you've got a little bit of a supply, you can come and you can do your material barter refresh and try to get some materials for your ships. So for example, the island tree coated plywood and the rock salt ingot that you need to upgrade to the caravel, that's where you would find it by doing that. Occasionally those items do appear on the standard Barter Refresh, but you're more likely going to find them in the material Barter Refresh. And again, guys, you can ignore the cooldown if you want to do that one again by using 70 points of your refresh. Just be aware, guys, that the Barter Refresh only renews once a day, 6 a.m. UTC. So you need to be really careful and kind of a little bit smart about how you're using your refresh points, right? Typically, I think a lot of people, what they would do is they would do 2 of these per day and 1 material refresh per day. Okay, so that's 12 hours, and you could do 1 of these. You could do 2 of these trade item barter refresh to get your barter items, and then you can do 1 material to try and get some materials for your ships. It's probably the smartest way to do it. All right, so there we go. So now you understand Parlay. What I can do now is I can go ahead and I can refresh this, and we're going to take a look at what we've got here. So you can see if I go to refresh, consumes 20 points, and my refresh count 3 times. So you can see after I've done the refresh, my parlay's gone back to 1 million. I've lost 20 points on the barter refresh, but I do have a whole bunch of new barters available. So for example, we've got, let's find this one here. This one right here, the rough green crystal. Okay, so what I would do is you can see the exchanges remaining is 6, and the number of rough green crystal I need is 100 per barter, so that would be 600 of those. So what I can do is I can go and get the rough green crystal out of my storages that my workers have been collecting for me, or you can just buy them on the central market. So once you've got your 600 of those, you can go ahead and you can press in the right thumbstick. That's going to set a waypoint to that particular island, which unfortunately is all the way over towards Etheria. So you can see here we've got, this is the island. It's set a waypoint to the bartering NPC, and you can see we've got 6 barters available for 1 of these ancient urn pieces. The tier 1 barters like this is level 1. You always get 6. Every single one is 6. Every tier 1 barter is 6. So these tier 1 barters generally appear around Etheria and in front of Velia. It's usually, sometimes it changes, but it usually follows the theme or the pattern, and that's generally where you find them. So you've got this tier 1 barter right here. You've got this one here where you've got to exchange 1,200 of the rough stones, and you're going to get 6 of these unidentified ancient murals. Okay, if we move across over here towards Velia, we're going to see some other barters where we've got to exchange this vinegar right here for the rower flower seed. This one here, we've got the flax thread, is another tier 1 barter. We've got these right here, essence of liquor, the rough blue crystal. So you can see these are like the tier 1s. Now when you're starting out, you're not going to have all of these available. You're going to have roots. You're going to have to do barters to unlock some roots. Okay, so when you're starting out and you've got 0 barters, you got one root. And when I started out, when I did my first barter, I had some kind of mushroom. It was some kind of mushroom, and there was none available in the central market. There was like 13,000 pre-orders for that particular mushroom, and I didn't have any of my storages because I didn't have workers getting me mushrooms, because prior to bartering, mushrooms never sold. So what I had to do is I had to refresh. I had to get a new tier 1 barter. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I grabbed the item that I needed and I was able to go ahead and do that barter. So remember that you get 6 barters for that tier 1 barter. So if you're lucky enough to be able to get a barter for a resource that's available either from your own storages or from the central market, awesome. You can go ahead and you can do that tier 1 barter straight away. Now what you want to do is, because you don't have any more tier 1s available, you're going to want to do that tier 2. So let's say, for example, the essence of liquor. This is the barter that you have available. So we're going to exchange it for the cherry tree sand. Okay. Well, we're going to find the cherry tree sand in the tier 2 barters, and that's going to exchange that for the sea survival kit. Now, this is how it works. The land goods to tier 1s are always 6 barters, but you can see here the exchanges remaining is 2. So we only need 2 of the cherry tree sand. So what we're going to do is, because if we just go back into the map really quickly and we find the essence of liquor, the essence of liquor barter, which is over here, we can see the weight of the cherry tree sand is 800 LT. Well, 800 LT times 6 is 4,800 LT. Your Furious sailboat only has 5,000 LT. And the frigate only has 4,000. So if you're on a frigate, you're automatically overweight. You can waypoint it and auto path it back to Ilia Island, but it's going to be slow, right? So you're going to get the 6 of these cherry tree sands, but you're not going to be able to do your next barter because you're going to be overweight. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to come all the way back to Ilia Island. You're going to need to dump 4 of these into the storage. And then what you would do is you would go back to that cherry tree seed pouch. You would set your waypoint for that. You would take your 2 barter items, and then you would come up here and you would exchange that for 2 of these sea survival kits. Now the sea survival kit is only 800 LT, so that's not going to put you overweight. That's going to put you up to 8 barters. At 11 barters, we unlock our next route, which means at the next refresh, we go from 1 tier 1 trade item to 2 tier 1 trade items, or 2 land items available, I should say. And this starts to open things up. So right now we're at 8 barters. Sometimes you get unlucky and it's 1 for 1. If these are 1 for 1, it's generally like, unless it's like an item that you need later on with like the tier 3 or the tier 4 or something like that, you can kind of like skip these because you can get better value for them later, right? But when you're starting out, you're gonna need to, you have to do this because you need to unlock the routes, right? So I'll show you an example. If we come all the way over here, we can see this tier 1 trade item exchanges for 3 urchin spines. So instead of getting, I'm trading 1 of that seed pouch there for the urchin spine, I'm trading 2 of these for 6 of the urchin spines. So you can get better barters depending on like what's available. Like this one over here is 1 for 1, and this one that we did that we would need to do is 1 for 1 as well. So just pay attention to your barters and see the value in it. If what you're getting, if for example we go back into here, we know that we're going to get the sea survival kit. Well, we're going to get 2 of them, okay, and 2 of them would exchange, and 1 of them would exchange for 3 of the ancient orders, so we would end up with 6 of the ancient orders, and then the ancient orders would exchange for the panacea, so we would end up with, so we've got 6 exchanges available there. That means that we're going to end up with 12 of the panacea, and then we can put the panacea into our storage, and we can exchange 4 for the golden scale, golden fish scale, and then the golden fish scale is going to be exchanged for 95 crow coins, or you can exchange, or you can sell them for 5 million silver each. So that's kind of like, that's a route, and that's how they develop. So a land good to a tier 1 is always 6 barters. A tier 1 to a tier 2 is always 2 barters. A tier 2 to a tier 3 is always 4 barters. A tier 3 to a tier 4 is 6 barters. And a tier 4 to a tier 5 is 4 barters. So they're always the same. So basically what would happen is, because you're always collecting 6 tier 1s, but then you can only exchange 2 tier 2s, or tier 1s to tier 2s, you're going to end up with this influx of tier 1s. And this is how you can, when you're starting out, you can exchange the excess for your vouchers that you can use for your verdant greenstones. But then after that, you're just basically collecting them. And you can get to the point where you don't need to do the tier 1 barters, just the land good to tier 1s, just because you have so much of them. You can just go for a little bit of time and just keep doing your tier 2s and things like that, and things become very profitable at that point. So what you want to do when you're starting out is do your land good to tier 1 barters. You're going to need to follow all the route. Unfortunately, it's the only way to do it. It's really time consuming because of the weight that you're capable of doing. All right, so that's pretty much bartering, guys. It's in a nutshell. You've got your barter menu. You know how the parley works. You know how the barter refresh works. You understand now the taking the land item, exchanging for the tier 1. You understand the routes. So for example, at 0 barters you've got 1 route. At 11 barters you've got 2 routes. At 31 you unlock 3. 71 is 4 routes. 151 is 5. 311 is 6. All the way down to 20,471 is 12 routes. I'm at 460 barters right now, so I'm kind of halfway between 6 and 7 routes. At 631 I unlocked my 7th route. My goal is to get to around 9 routes, 2,551. And at that point there is when you're going to start making a lot of money, is once you get to around 9 routes. Okay? And there are also other things as well that you unlock, special barters and things that unlock around, I think it's 10 routes, 5,111 barters. Special things that you unlock, but we're going to go into more of that in detail a little bit later on. I'm just going to give you guys some quick tips right now that you can you can use to your advantage. So number 1 tip, you can put barter items on your horse. However, guys, if you try to teleport your horse, the barter items will be destroyed. Now you can't move barter items without a wharf manager, and each barter item is 800 to 1000 LT. So you have to kind of be careful and be strategic about when you're doing your barters. What you can do is you can use a wharf manager to drop items onto a tagged character with weight gear or pay to win weight. Then you can switch back to a non-overweight character and you can run back to your boat. What I like to do is I like to use the local wharf manager. There's some in Etheria, Kuwait Island, Lima Island, and especially over here, Shakatu Pier. Like this one right here, Shakatu Pier. If I'm doing some of these, what I would do is you can do your if you do, let's say that I'm going to do 4 barters, okay, but I'm up to my 3rd one and I know that, and I'm overweight. So what I can do is, instead of going all the way back to Ilia Island, what I can do is I'll come down here to the wharf manager and I will get him to put one of the trade items, whichever one I can fit the most of, or I can take the most of to free up the most weight on my ship. I'll put that into my character's inventory. Then I can sail to the next one. I can do the next barter, and then I'll make my way back to Ilia. So that's just a little trick that I like to do that allows me to do 4 barters instead of 3. Remember, the more barters that you can do at a time, the more time you're going to save traveling backwards and forwards. Okay, so a lot of the time you're going to be overweight, and auto pathing is a really good way to kind of work around that. I believe you go a little bit faster when you auto path, and it just makes it bartering a little bit more relaxing. You don't have to sit there going super slow, holding your controller, trying to drive your boat. Save your crow coins as much as you can. You want to use them to buy stones, but everything else you get through bartering, you need millions of these per ship, so don't waste them. And my last tip for you guys is the exchange collection scroll. So I mentioned this before. If you come into your inventory and you've got the item collection scroll in there, what you can do is, if you need to do a barter and you're out of parley, you can go into manufacturing and you can manufacture a item collection scroll into a voucher that allows you to get an extra 250,000 parley, and that has a 4-hour cooldown on it as well. So just use that one wisely, guys. Okay guys, so the other thing that I want to quickly explain to you as well is just about your sailors. So if you come down here into manage sailors, you're going to have, you can put sailors on your boat. Essentially what you can do is you can find these guys in Velia at the tavern there in Velia. You can find them on the beach in Etheria next to the whale, and you can find them on Ilia Island as well. If you're doing bartering, the ones you're going to want to look for are the innocent sailors. They have the most speed. And basically what the sailors do is they add stats to your ship. So if you're doing sea monster hunting, the innocent ones aren't the ones you want. There are different ones. They all have different stats that contribute towards different tasks depending on what you want to do and what you want to get out of it. All right, so the sailors are there. What you need to do is you need to keep your sailors fed by using food. So for example, I've just got this raisin bread in here. I'm being lazy at the moment and just buying this from the wharf manager, and you can just feed your sailors whenever you get whenever they need it. But basically with your rations on your ship, the rations are the yellow bar underneath you. So your red bar is your durability or your ship's health, and the yellow bar is your rations. And the rations keep your sailors fed, essentially. So as long as you don't run out of rations, usually your sailors are pretty good and they don't usually need to be fed. But if you do get low on rations, your sailors will start to decrease in their like hunger or whatever, and you need to feed them. If they do run completely empty and they get sick, then you need to use an item called the elixir of regeneration, I believe it's called. Just quickly, I think I got one in the storage right here. So yeah, right here, elixir of regeneration. So you need to grab one of these and you use that on there, and it just basically brings him back to health. Okay, so otherwise your sailors don't give you any stats if you don't look after them. Kind of the same way that workers don't work on your nodes if you don't feed them. Alright, so that's your sailors. The other thing as well that I want to explain to you is with the exploring and the supply options when you come across a barter. So basically what happens when you come across a barter is you're going to also have the option there to explore the island or supply. You can send your sailor to do these tasks for you, and explore is a really good thing for you to do. You can find rare items. I found an item worth 50 million silver that I sold to an NPC. There's another really rare item that you can get that sells for 100 million silver. You can find items like the iridescent corals and other like trade items and all different sorts of things that help you with bartering and just ocean content. So this really good way to either make some extra silver or find some rare items that are going to help you in some way. With supply, what you need to do is it costs, depending on, I believe it depends on your ship, right? At the moment, for me, it costs a minimum of 100,000 rations to do a supply. It also cost me 100,000 rations to do an explore as well. But what I would do is, like, if I'm out in Margoria Ocean, for example, I'm going to want to restock my rations, because the trip out there and the trip back, it's kind of like a little bit taxing on your rations. So what you want to do is you can do supply. You're risking 100,000 rations at a chance to get up to 500,000 rations back. Now you can see here when I did this, I only got 106,000 rations back, so I only profited 6,000 rations, and I just did it because you're gonna have to resupply anyway. So it's a good idea to do a supply if you're out that way. These explore and supply options, you can only do it once every 10 minutes. But if you're around these local islands and it's pretty accessible to a wharf manager where you can restock your supply, then explore is when you can restock your rations. Explore is the best option for you to do. Otherwise, if you're out in Margoria, do supply, because you've got to redo your rations anyway. So if you miss out or you get a bodgy supply, then it doesn't matter. You're just going to have to do it anyway with the wharf manager. So that's an option for you, just so you guys understand how that works and what that's all about, so that you don't not getting confused. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I don't want to go into too much more just because it's just too much information. I don't want to drag this on longer than it needs to be. But if you guys have any questions at all, please drop it in the comments below. I will answer all your questions. And keep an eye out for the next video where I go more into detail about routes and how to kind of work your way around the ocean a little bit better and do things a little bit more organized and things like that. But basically, guys, that's your what you need to do right now is just get as many of those tier 1 barters done as you can. Get your coins and also get your routes up. So you want to unlock more routes and also rush your caravel as fast as possible. Believe me, once you've got the caravel, things just start getting so much easier and faster, and you make more money. You start to make more money. Alright guys, but that's going to be it for this video. I appreciate all of you guys for watching. Let me know if you got any questions in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.